Welcome back to Peaks 47. So the first thing I'm going to do is get this gap addressed going around the building. Now I think I briefly mentioned this in last video. I usually just glue them down and then sweep the sand in it, but I'm planning on putting lights in here and I want to be able to get access to this. So I'll drill a hole at a later date for underneath. So for now what I'm going to do is get some basin glue, put a bead of glue around the position in the house, remove the house, build up a little hedge with some little purple flowers on it and have it as some weeds going around the house. So I've painted some of these up now, a little selection. I did originally do them all brown as if they're all just timber, which was probably more prototypical for the 40s, but I figured it might just give a bit more interest on the eye, just add some different colours. So I'll be placing them outside the Anderson shelter. I've just knocked up some planters that I intend on now painting. I've just made these out of coffee stirrers, so I'm going to paint these in a timber colour, put these down, have some sort of weeds and vines coming out the side, and then I might try some orange and yellow flowers in there and have these perhaps outside the Anderson shelter. That's my plan. I'm going to make them up, see how they look once they're in place. Right, so while my planters are drying, the base for the cottage is still drying, I thought I'd have a go at tackling this second signal box. I know I mentioned this briefly again a few videos ago, because this started life as a dapple signal box. I've used some scale model scenery Midland windows and I've cut them down and modified them, glued bits more together to try and get them to fit. They're not perfect, but they're certainly a bit of an improvement on the original box. I'm looking at trying to get Justin to adjust the file for the Midlands windows so they're a direct replacement for this dapple box. Can give you quite a nice Midlands box for quite cheap value. So I'm going to add further detail to this. I've obviously got to add some acetate for the glazing. Well, I've used some railings here, some harbour railings, and I've cut these down, I've painted them silver. I'm going to trim them down some more. I'm going to use these along this edge and along this edge here. I've got some little huts I'm going to add to the scene. So I'm just while I've got a minute, I'm just going to take the opportunity to get some of these details painted up, and once I've done a bit on the cottage, I can then move a little bit further down the board and start concentrating on this area of the layout. I've also got the occupational bridge that I think I'm going to redo. I think the railings on that are slightly overscale, So I'm probably at some point going to take those off and again use a similar product along the top of the railings. I'm quite pleased with how that's came out, considering those windows don't really fit in there. I've managed to get them in half decent. I think once the file is changed, if that's at all possible, then I think this could look even better again. So everything's dry now. Quite pleased with my planters. So I'm just going to scrape away some of the grass on each corner of the path, and then I'm going to glue these in place, hold them down with some super glue while the glue dries so they're bedded in a little bit. I think they should look quite nice there. Get some garden tools sort of leaning up. The fence is down there. This is also all dry now, which will disguise the gap for the house. So yeah, coming on. So you can only just about make these out. That's really zoomed in as well. So we've got the fork and the spade. We've got an axe and we've got some shears. I'm going to put a couple more tools perhaps here. And then I probably need a figure, perhaps stood on the path as if they're, I don't know, just about to open the door and put the tools away for the day. Something like that. I found this little ladder in my box of bits. I'm sure you've all got your box of bits, so I'm going to just lean that up on the lean-to, perhaps move it over a little bit, and I'm going to go on to Model U and see if I can find a figure that I can have at the bottom of the ladder, so he's about to climb up the ladder, or maybe someone on the top or even on the roof repairing tiles or something like that. Just some ideas just for a little bit of extra detail. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the edge of this lawn yet. I was possibly thinking of putting a border in it, but then again I'm quite pleased with how it looks at the minute. So I've also bought some new vehicles. So the first one I've bought is this one. As you see, it's an Alvis Speed 20. I think it's a 30s car. And I've also bought a nice Jag as well. So one of these will live at this property. Obviously I can move them around the board a little bit if I need to. I'm starting to get quite a nice collection of 40s, 30s and 40s vehicles now. So I look forward to putting them on for the final touches. I may have a go at trying to do a washing line. I was going to have it on post, but I'm thinking I may come off the corner of the lean-to and either have a post here or have it so it was just sort of buried into the mound of the Anderson shelter, and that will enable me to put a little bit more detail in this corner. So this is what I'm going to use for my washing line. As you can see, it's a fishing line, but it's a braided line. Just think it might stand out a little bit more because it's got the pattern in it. So I'm going to glue it to the side of that guttering, let that dry, and then I can put a little bit of tension on it to bury it in there. And then I need to make up a line prop. I've got this little bit here off a kit that I've painted silver. It may do the job, it may not, but the idea would be that would sort of sit here, keeping tension on the line. And I thought, while I'm at it, I might as well try and make some trousers and some shirts and some bits and bobs to go on the line. So the braid is dry now. I've used a cocktail stick for the other end. Just see the break there. So I'm going to use a little bit of masking tape now, and I'm going to try and make some sheets out of it just to hang on for a bit of detail. Put the prop on, add some vehicles on there, and it's getting pretty close then.